Everything's a choice.
Uh-huh.
I made a choice to walk out of that house at 14 years old and never go back.
Yes.
I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
I've lived more outside than inside a family home. My podcast is set up in a way that it's like a teenager's bedroom.
Yeah.
And that's and there's a purpose to that. But my purpose, I create my purpose.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I think to say that everyone has a purpose is that something is preordained.
Mm-hmm.
Something's been bestowed upon them
Yeah.
at birth, but I don't think that's true.
1,000%.
We're all born nothing.
Yeah.
All of us. Even if you're born into wealth. Depends how you use that wealth. Depends what you do with it. You can squander it. Everything's a choice.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thoughts on Purpose podcast. We've got an amazing guest today, Darran Petty. Mate, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
So great to have you. It's been a while.
We've been trying to make this happen for a long time.
Yeah, we have. But like a lot of great things, it takes time to build a masterpiece. So, no pressure, mate.
No, I'm all good. The only pressure I feel is for your chair that I'm sitting on.
Mate,
I'm trying to lose some weight.
No, mate, it's got you.
Yeah.
It will last the podcast at least.
We'll see.
And then when I sit on it after, it might break. No, guys, Darran is just an amazing soul, and like you are genuinely someone who inspires me. Like you're a fellow Tasmanian, and just what you do. So you run the Trojan Academy, which is would you class it as a martial arts training centre?
Martial Arts Academy, yeah.
Academy, yeah. You run Darran Petty Films, Darran Petty Show, which is your amazing podcast, and you've done 110 episodes.
Yeah.
So, and you're an amazing photographer as well.
I try to be.
Yeah.
Well,
you are. You absolutely are. I've been to your art. I saw your art.
The photography
what do you call
exhibition.
it? Yeah, exhibition. And you are someone who's just gone after what you believe in. You're someone who's gone after what's true for you. And I love seeing that, mate. Like, and that's why I'm inspired by you. Like, and you've come from a background where it could have gone the other way for you, very much so. So, could you share with everyone listening a bit about where you've come from and why you do what you do right now?
Yeah, man. I come from down the road, literally.
Do you?
Just in Kingston.
Oh, perfect.
That's where my story sort of
So it's about 10 minutes away from here, yeah.
And I moved to Tasmania when I was 10, and we moved to the Kingston area, and we moved into a place called Jara House, which is a women's shelter for women experiencing domestic violence.
Right.
So we lived there when I was 9 or 10, got enrolled into the Kingston Primary there, and they gave us a house. They set up a house for us in Waratah Street in Kingston. And we lived there and hid from our stepfather. So we actually moved to Tasmania to hide from the violent stepfather.
Wow.
Who ended up dying in the end when I was in high school. He died. Subsequently came down here to look for us and try to get us and kill us and yada yada.
He followed you down.
Yeah, and then the cops got him and threw him out, put him in jail, and he died in jail.
Wow.
Yeah. So my name used to be Darran Oshirenko. Ouchirenko.
Okay.
And that was in primary school. Because that was the stepfather's married. That was the name that we got through the marriage. That all unfolded, and then I just went on to a lifestyle of teenage, craziness. Moved out of home at 14.
Yeah. Moved out of home at 14.
Yeah, the cops came a few times and said, look, and my mum didn't really know what she was doing, obviously, and she had her own issues with drugs and alcohol, and didn't look after me quite right, and wasn't working. And then moved out into, the world at 14, and drugs and alcohol, and selling and buying and doing, and I spent a lot of time in Franklin Square, sitting on the ground, taking drugs, running around, fights, stuff like that, craziness.
Wow.
Living from house to house to house, had nowhere to go, but just made it work.
And you've just, what was the turnaround point? Like, how old were you when something started to click where you're like, I got to make a change?
So I don't know if you've got the book or not, but the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. Have you heard?
I don't have that. I saw it in your studio.
Yeah. So I was 18 or 19. I'd say 19 years old, living on the Rocker Highway in a share house full of different people. And the house was like, people would come and go flat out, drink. So every time someone came over, I'd drink. So every night of the week I was drinking.
Okay. Yeah.
Had no real direction there. We used to walk through the city in Hobart City and like find skip bins to burn and
Wow.
you know, we stole cars and all this sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one night I'm sitting in the lounge room of this share house and on the TV was Pumping Iron. And everyone was like, that's gay, that's stupid or whatever. And I was like, oh, is it? Or is it pretty cool?
Mm.
You know, so then I just started doing anything. Had a Christian friend and he would often come and hang out with us. I don't know why, but he'd hang out with us, just a school buddy. And he wouldn't drink. And I started talking to him and he gave me this bar, this curl bar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And he let me borrow it with 5 or 10 kilos and off I went. So in the morning I'd get up with a hangover, I'd do weights, I'd spew, I'd do some more weights and spew. And then I started getting into creatine and started researching all the supplements. And I was taking creatine without water. And I was getting really lucid and, you know, it was really messing with me big time.
Okay.
So, you know, I moved through that. Like I'd get so drunk I'd vomit in my bed and just sleep in it at 19, 18, 19.
Far out.
So I was doing weights and drinking. And then I went to Friends School.
Yes.
And there's a little gym there.
Yes.
And I didn't know what I was doing. I was running on the treadmill and getting off and picking up some stuff and getting back on and doing things that didn't make sense. But to me, I just had to go.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to the PCYC in Hobart and then got into the weights there. And then one day someone came along to me about probably 6 to 8 months in and said, you should do a competition. And I said, oh, is there one? I don't even know. I'm just doing this thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
PCYC Hobart started to sort of make changes in my body because I started to research fully into the supplements.
Yes.
And in those days it was books and articles and right before forums came in, right? Do you remember that? How old are you, Nash?
30.
So I'm 40, so the 10-year gap, but back in my day before social media, there was internet, but it was bodybuilding forums. And you had sub-forums in there about, you know, food, weights, then you had like squats,
I think
bench,
I just
whatever.
remember that. Like
So that was, we started one and we had a few things going on and, you know, that eventuated into like learning. We'd pass around knowledge.
Yes.
So I did all that and just became a bodybuilder. Yeah.
Yeah, and you really took it seriously. I've seen photos of you, mate. You were...
Yeah, serious, man. Like, I guess that's where I learned how to be serious.
Yeah.
You know. And how to if you're going to do something, do it to the highest degree.
For sure.
Do it, go all in or all out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and now I've changed my views on that a little bit because you've got to have hobbies. You got to have things that you don't go all in on.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Like reading books. Like you don't have to. I don't consider myself a book reader. I'm not going to go in and put goals on how many books I should read and put pressure on myself.
Yeah, good.
I just do whatever I want.
Yep.
And even now when I go to the gym at 40, man, I can get a phone call during a gym session and just walk out. Just leave. But back in the day, you know, you couldn't even like get my attention.
Interesting.
You know, I wasn't rude.
You were so in it.
Yeah, I wasn't rude, but people knew.
Yeah.
You know, and they'd offer to get out of my way and they'd offer to give me the machine and the equipment and
interesting.
Because everyone knew that I was into it. But I graduated from the PCYC down to the university, Tasmanian University.
Yes, I've heard that's a
and
good
that's
gym.
when I got serious. I don't know now, but it changed. But back in the day, it was serious.
Yes,
very serious.
Interesting. So you had this, like, I'm sensing like quite an addictive personality where you just got hooked on something. Or it sounds like you were searching for something. You just wanted something to channel all your energy. Like I know your heart. Like I see you, and you've got this incredible strength. You're amazing. You're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, correct?
Yeah.
And so you've got like you could tear someone's head off, but you look. I really admire how you channel your energy now, and you're very centered and calm and focused.
Yeah.
And I know that's required a lot of work. So talk to me about the mental game, like for you, where in the past you were obviously, like you said, lying around taking drugs as a teenager. What shifted mentally for you then to go and start wanting to work out? Like where was your mind at when you were even picking up those dumbbells? Like What was the conversation going on in your mind that let you do that?
Well, earlier on in my life, I started karate in Kingston, and I did that just to make myself strong, so that my stepfather, when he came, I could deal with him.
Yes.
You know, so that I went through like a white belt phase there, and then I went through like the whole moving out of home thing and lost touch with it. But for me, it was desperation.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to.
So desperation.
Yeah, so I was very sick at 18, 19. I had abscesses all over my body, so these abscesses would come up on my anywhere.
Okay.
And that was a lymphatic situation of drinking too much, malnutrition, so I'd drink and not eat. It's that kind of thing.
Yes.
And I went to my doctor a lot of times, and he'd drain these things, and he'd pull like the core out of these things out of my face.
Oh,
and
wow.
pus would go down my face into my neck, and my glands would swell up, and I just had them everywhere all over my body. I've still got scars on my body. Some of them are hidden by the tattoos, but like holes in my body.
Far out.
Where he'd pull the core out of these pus-filled, what he called abscesses, and off I went, living that life. And I never thought I'd get out of that. I thought, okay, I'm gonna come unstuck. So the doctor said, you either fix your life or you'll be dead or go to jail, because we were doing drugs and, you know, not so much theft and things like that, but just doing stupid shit, you know, just getting around the city and getting drunk and underage, so you just find some bad stuff to do.
Yeah.
And I haven't thought about that for a long time, the stuff we used to do, but it was stupid.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any guidance when I was a kid. You know, we didn't have any, we just went, did what we want. We used to light the bush on fire behind our house, and, you know, you can imagine doing that sort of thing these days.
Of course.
You'd be roasted for that. But, you know, we just did what we did.
And you put it down to not having guidance, like that was it.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know any better. Like
no, we just did what we want.
Yeah, yeah. And it made sense at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that time, when I was young, we just sort of, we gained our sense of like, you could look after yourself, you know.
Okay.
We gained a sense of like, you know, we're not going to hurt ourselves, but we're going to look after each other. That's all we had. Is our friends.
Yeah.
Other than that, we were just all over the place.
Wow. Wow.
But for me, it was desperation.
Desperation and wanting to protect yourself, and I'm guessing your mum.
Absolutely.
And if you don't mind me asking, what age did your dad die?
I think that was like, that would have been mid-high school. I would have been, look, I don't even know. I can't remember.
And did you get that news?
No, I looked up on the internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He died in Pentridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, just looked, every now and then I look up his last name just to see if anything came up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting, like knowing what I know now, doing the work as a coach, I know that quite often people, when they've had what would be classed as a traumatic event as a kid, like their whole body is still in fight or flight, or it's still like there's so much anxiety going through you that you might not even realise where it's coming from. It's on that subconscious level. So do you feel like...
I deal with it now.
Yeah, you know? Of course. Yeah, and how do you deal with that? How do you, if you don't mind
By
asking?
doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so you channel. You channel this. Yeah.
I put my anxiety and anger. You know, I think everyone's got anxiety. It's chemicals in your body that react a certain way based on a stimuli that's been presented to you. So if you see a line in front of you, you're going to have some anxiety.
Yeah.
If you see a bill in front of you that you can't pay, you're going to have some anxiety.
Precisely, yeah.
And you either kill the lion or run away and pay the bill or not.
Yeah.
And, you know, I learned throughout my life that I've got to pay my bills.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, because a lot of these anxieties we create.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I'm a big believer in law of attraction, and what you think is what will happen.
1,000%.
You know?
Yeah.
And if you think bills, you're going to get bills. But if you think million, you'll get million.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Money will come.
I believe that totally.
Yeah.
So interesting. I want to take this conversation in so many directions. I'm thinking what would be best for the people listening, because I know, like, you've got a lot of wisdom, dear Darran. I sense that about you.
No, I don't think that at all. I think I'm just telling you what happened. Yeah, and I like to speak factually as to what I've done,
for sure,
rather than talk about something I've read about.
Absolutely, but that's what I mean by wisdom. Like wisdom, you've embodied it. Like
Right.
versus knowledge. Like knowledge is just something that you've read in a book and you're repeating. Like this is wisdom because it's coming. Like you've lived it.
Yeah,
It's
gotcha.
been and that's how
My experience,
and I would class that as a level of wisdom.
Yeah.
And now you pass it on to other people. Like I see, not only have you channeled it, like you've channeled all this experience that could have literally put you behind bars quite easily. You've channeled it to now, like I was saying about the social media video I saw of the kids you're supporting at your Trojan Academy, like all these happy kids and the vibe you've created at that place. Like you just channeled it to create. And I love that, brother. Like it's really, in my work as a coach, it's what I'm supporting people do. And so you're just an embodiment of that. And I genuinely admire that. So for anyone else who is in a position, or maybe they've got let's start with an individual who's in a position where their life looks nothing like what they would want it to be, or what they'd love it to be, but they've got a dream, like they've got something on their heart. Maybe the people around them are doing complete opposite of what they would love to do in the future. Like their life just looks worlds apart from what they really want. Like what would you say to that person? Where should they begin to begin turning the tides?
Look, I just think it's so easy for me to do, but you have to be willing to lose friends and family.
Okay.
And I've done that over the years. I've lost so many friends and basically all of my family. You know, I don't really keep in touch with any of my family at all.
Yeah. And when you say it's so easy for you to do, what do you mean by that?
Well, you know, what do you want? Do you want a good life or a shit life?
True.
You gotta make a decision.
Yeah.
And then, but people like to be comfortable, and people's comfort zones keep them in one spot. So you might not like what you're living. You might not living your dream, but it's comfortable to have the access to your family that'll help you out here and there. But I cut them all off, and I was on my own, and I lived through discomfort, and then I put myself through, you know, bodybuilding again, regiment discomfort, and then that's what I think. I think you should look for discomfort. You should run towards discomfort because that's how you're built. That's how you build yourself. Rather than sit in where you are. Yeah. You know, I drive through suburbs and look at different people, and you know, I'm a big people watcher, and I often think, well, are you doing what you want to do? But it's comfortable. It's what they know. It's generational.
For sure.
You got to snap that generational neck. Yeah. You know.
That's a powerful metaphor.
You have to, because you know the Pettys are all living in Victoria, working labour jobs, destroying their bodies and driving their lives into alcohol. Yeah, you know, or whatever. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be something. I wanted to be, and I wanted to become something, so I can be something, so I can give. You know, and now I can give knowledge in fitness, self-defense, filmmaking, storytelling, you know? Yeah. And whatever I think I want to do, I do it. Regardless of what people think. You know, I don't need anybody.
Brother, it's such a powerful conversation. And that's the reason I wanted to chat to you. I've been going back and forth on the messages for a while now. Like you've got a lot happening, brother, and I'm so grateful to be here finally. So for someone with a kid who's in a position, because I know parents personally who have kids that they're concerned about. They're like, wow, I feel like my kid is going, maybe it's a single mum, exactly the same position as your mum was in. But the mum is like, crap, I can see my kid is getting mixed with the wrong kids. I can see that my kid is going down a path I don't want for them. What can they do? Like, what would you say to them?
Well, at some point you have to take a look at yourself and wonder why that happened. Okay. Because it just doesn't happen like that. If you bring a baby up from infant through early childhood and into teenagehood, and you bring them up in a way that you discard them, you don't look after them, you feed them shitty food, and you look after your own self and not your infant child, they're going to grow up in a certain way. But if you nurture that child and give your life to it, then they'll grow up in another way. True. So it just doesn't... Kids don't become delinquents just out of just out of thin air.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is rebellion, but that's brought on more by exterior. In these days, social media.
Yes.
You know, you can't shield your children from that stuff.
Uh-huh.
I think kids that are sheltered grow up in a certain way as well.
Yes.
I think kids that are well travelled, and in that I mean kids that are showing the world and the truth and the facts of what the world really is. You know, I'm not shy in telling a kid that, you know, it's a big bad world out there.
Yep.
Because they should know.
Yeah.
So that's just my thing. Like, a lot of the times, and just recently, I had a very notable business family message me and say our son's off the rails.
Yeah.
Completely won't call back, and drugs and alcohol. And I said, well, what led him to that? And it's always the same. We don't know. And what that really, in reality, is that you have to take responsibility at some point for how you're bringing up your kids.
Yes, I love that.
That's what I think. Like, and to answer your question, what's the fix of if they're already down that path and you've stuffed up as a parent before that? Well, then you've got to do some fast and hard catching up.
Yeah, mate, I love that advice.
The responsibility is on the parent.
Yep.
Not on the kid.
True.
How do I trick my kid to come back home? That's what normally gets asked of me.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And literally just this one that I've been dealing with recently, and I won't mention any names, but I'll say this. The thing was, can we put a fake document in their letterbox so that they then contact you, Darran, to get a free membership of the thing? I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. But what about the systemic stuff that happened way before that?
Okay. Yeah.
So you've got to really deal with that. And you've really got to acknowledge and apologise for that to your kids too.
1,000%.
And let them know.
Yeah.
All I ever wanted from my mum was an apology for what she did.
Yep.
She apologises every time I see her. I say, chill, relax, okay.
Yep.
It's all good.
Yep.
So the onus is on the parents.
Mate, that is a solid answer. I love that. So the idea of, I love the idea of ownership. Like, just taking full ownership for
100%.
everything. And,
you know, this stuff from Jocko is not new.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, when you look at the Stoics, like, they had the same, like, the old philosophy, like, they all ran this stuff as well.
Well, we've got new Stoics now.
Yeah.
Stoicism is reinventing itself.
Yeah.
Through Jocko, through Goggins.
Through yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're a humble man.
Yeah, look,
and I like that. I respect that.
No, look, it is what it is. You know,
Yeah.
I'm well aware of what I am and what I'm not.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm well aware that I am a leader in this field in Kingston, Hobart, maybe Tasmania. But I'd like to be, you know, more than that. I'd like to be a leader in this space nationally.
Yeah.
You know, because I think I can give some. You know, I speak in schools and things, but most of the time you can't video it and you can't film it, so you can't get a record of it as to show it. And I think that's I'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
But I do that through my own mediums, through my own podcasts, through my own stuff.
Oh, you do great work, brother. Like your podcast is on point. So, do you a question I ask all of my guests, Darran, is: do you believe every person on Earth has a purpose?
Okay. I think, and this is probably not the answer that's most popular, but we're just organisms, man. We make a choice.
Yeah.
Everything we do is a choice.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe in destiny. I believe you create your life.
Awesome.
And, you know, thoughts become things because thoughts, your brain's connected to the rest of your body.
Yeah.
Your brain's connected to your arms and your hands and your feet. So if your brain's connected to your arms and your feet and you make a fist and you punch someone and kill them, that's your life in front of you.
Yeah, so true.
So, you know, to say that there's destiny, and then when people say, oh, you know, do I believe in purpose? That then allows blame to come in. Oh, I had a purpose, but then stuck my life up.
Yeah.
Everything's a choice.
Uh-huh.
I made a choice to walk out of that house at 14 years old and never go back.
Yes.
I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
I've lived more outside than inside a family home. My podcast is set up in a way that it's like a teenager's bedroom.
Yeah.
And there's a purpose to that. But my purpose, I create my purpose.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I think to say that everyone has a purpose is that something is preordained. Something's been bestowed upon them at birth, but I don't think that's true. We're all born nothing.
Yeah.
All of us. Even if you're born into wealth. Depends how you use that wealth. Depends what you do with it. You can squander it. Everything's a choice.
Yes. Mate, I love that answer. And I love what Goggins says, he said that, you know, he was created and he's done his thing, but his outcome is, if one day he's standing in front of God, if that happens, then he wants to have God in awe of what he did with his life. Like, be like, well, shit, I created you for this much, because this is David Goggins' beliefs. He's like, I created you for this, but you did this. Like, you exceeded expectations I had of you. And I thought that was a really cool mentality. I actually love your answer. I think your answer is phenomenal. And it's that, again, that thing of responsibility and not saying, oh, yeah, I had a purpose, but I kind of missed out on it.
Because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, exactly. And I always speak to people when I speak about purpose. I say you choose it. You don't wait for it to show up. Like, some people are walking around saying, one day when I find my purpose, you know, what are you going to make your purpose?
Exactly right.
I love that.
I love that, because then you say, people say, I want to find it, and what they're looking for, they're pulling on this lever, and this thing's, their life is spinning in front of them until they line up the, I don't gamble, but line up the cherries or whatever, right?
I get it, yep.
You line up the cherries and then bang, you got a purpose. No, create a purpose.
1000%.
And a lot of people message me asking advice on life, not just life in general, but specifically like, I've got an idea, what do I, da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, just do it.
Good.
And you know what? I love cliches.
Yeah.
I live by them. Just do it. Can I swear on here?
Of course, yeah.
Just shut the fuck up and do it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
You know, and, then I say, but the buts are important. But I've got kids. And I say, yeah, but do your kids sleep? Do they go to bed? Then work. Then do.
Yeah.
I've got a job. I work at the da-da-da. Okay, do you work 24 hours a day? No. So go out and start your passion. I've got a disability. Okay, can you speak? If your disability is speech, then find something around that you can do.
Yeah.
But if you can speak, you can put anything to action. Words are everything.
Yeah.
You know, but I've worked with people in disability support care that can't speak. You know, and then that's who I, you know, and the reason why I worked with those people is because I wanted to get an insight into what it's like, what tough life is really like. You know, I haven't had a tough life. I'm born in Australia. You know, I interviewed a guy the other day that one of the most dangerous criminals in Tasmania in history. The police recognise his face. He's dealt with in that way that wherever he goes, he's followed and everything like this.
Yeah,
that could have been me, but I chose not to. And now he's sitting in front of me at 30 years old, wanting redemption.
Wow.
You know, with almost tears in his eyes, saying, "All I want is redemption." And I'm like, "You already made it, mate. You made the decision. You got out. Even if you got out yesterday, you're still out." You know, but we're privileged.
Yeah, so true.
Just wanted to say that.
I love
we
that.
are privileged.
Yeah, and so often the excuses people make, or the reasons people have for not doing something, it is purely that. It is excuse. And I like the way you don't let people off the hook. Like, one life, and I've worked in hospitals, I get where you're coming from. I've seen how fragile life is, and I've seen people who are like, "Oh, I've got forever. I'll get around to it one day." Don't play that game. Like, that is a trap.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And really, really unfortunately for people.
Yeah. And you know, you never know when time's up.
Yeah.
So why not just go hard, go all in?
Yeah.
You know, even I can say that here now. Like, we're sitting in your room here, and I'm looking around at the awesome setup. We got 3 cameras set up. We got lighting. But if I was actually you, I'm not saying do this. Do you?
Yeah.
Do your life. I don't know your life, but I'd sell everything I have. I'd catch the bus.
Yeah.
I'd sell my cards, sell all my belongings, and I'd get better cameras, and I'd get a better setup.
I love that.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, awesome.
I would not let anything stop me.
I'll
And that's what I've always done.
selling Gus's laptop.
You sound man.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
what you're doing is phenomenal. But
absolutely.
all I'm saying is, and maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. And podcasting is so new in Australia. You know, there's a lot happening, but it's only 2 or 3 years old.
Yes.
You know, and you can jump ahead of the pack by taking yourself a bit more serious. And I think you should.
I love that.
I really think you should.
Yeah, I'm going to take
you're
that on
very
board
good
for
at
sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
Not many people are comfortable in front of camera.
Yeah.
And not many people can articulate their knowledge and experience through themselves in front of a camera.
Yeah.
They get camera shy. But that's just ego.
True.
You know, camera shy is not stage fright, it's ego.
I love that.
You should just be vulnerable.
Man, thank you. There you go.
You're way better than this setup.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. So, guys, this is just such a great example of why it's great to hang around people who can hold you at a higher standard. So, thank you, mate. I take this on. I love this feedback, and I'm like, yes.
This is why I surround myself.
Yeah,
raise the bar. That's why I surround myself with extraordinary people like Robin Moore,
Yeah.
who's a mentor of mine. I've just put on another mentor, Stuart Clues, who's a business entrepreneur, and you know he's just laughing at me. Like, I asked him business advice. He's like, make a business. I'm like, I have, and he's like, oh, you know, raise the bar.
Yeah, I love that.
And I love that. You know, I love being the. I don't want to say dumbest, lack of a better word, but I don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, so good.
You know, but ego again gets in people's way.
Yeah.
They want to be the leader and this and that. And I lead in certain aspects of my life, but I've also got to put yourself in a position where you are learning.
Yes.
And there's tons of stuff that you've said on my podcast that helps me. And my partner Marie, her favourite podcast to listen to is ours.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, because we actually get into some issues and not just talk about fluff.
Yeah, brilliant. I appreciate you sharing that. And what you've just said, I just want to move into that a little bit more because like the importance of having a mentor, someone who will hold you to a higher standard, who will call you out, who will see your blind spots. Like it has been the thing that has allowed me to move from a shy, very insecure carpenter after joining the military. Like I was like, you look at my first Instagram post, my back is to the camera, and there's no, like that is very deliberate. I was run down. I hated life pretty much at that point, and I could not bear to see myself on the camera. If I heard my wife playing a video of me when I started doing videos, I'd be like, turn that off. I do not want to hear myself. So man, I've been on the journey, and I love that you're saying raise the bar even more. Sometimes it's good to get permission from someone, not that we really need it ever, not that you ever need it, but I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Put yourself in uncomfortable situations, which is what you're doing.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
You have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, life is just day after day.
Yeah.
We're all headed towards the grave, man. We're all time's ticking.
Yes, 1,000%. What do you think? What do you think? I love that, brother. So, what do you think most people don't understand about life that if they did, it would change the game for them? Like, what do you feel most people are oblivious to? Because I know you interact with a lot of people, and you've seen people. You worked in disability care. You've just had such a range of life experience. What do you think most people are oblivious to that if they knew would just change the game for them? Death.
I think everyone needs to see death.
Okay. Yeah.
Real death.
Yeah.
And I think pets are great.
Yep.
I think pets are a good learning experience for kids. My daughter's seen, tens of pets of hers die, and she understands death. Don't hide kids from death.
Yeah.
Don't hide kids from realities of life. That's the first thing. So going from early childhood up into teenage years, people need to understand their mortality. Yes. People need to understand how fleeting this life is.
Yeah.
People need to understand that Santa Claus is not real. The realities of life.
Yeah.
And once you understand the realities of life, then you can start to live your life in a way that you can manipulate it, not be manipulated. Yes. I understand all the realities of life. I understand that if I stop making podcasts, the podcast is over. I understand that if I, whatever I do, I create, it's up to me to start and stop. I am the master of my own life.
Yes.
Where people think that people think that you have to get a job and you have to work in this, but people put pressure on themselves. You got to have a partner that aligns, even a girlfriend or partner or boyfriend or whatever the word is for whatever gamut you want to put that onto.
That's it.
You have to align yourself with someone that aligns with your values. I'm going a little bit all over the place, but I'll tell you now, what I'm trying to say is this. You need to understand the realities of your mortality.
Yep.
And the best thing that can ever happen to anyone is a near-death experience. Most elite athletes that have gone through, most elite athletes, like you could probably think of a few, have experienced a near-death experience. You will never da-da-da again.
Yeah.
And guess what? Off they go and they become elite.
So true.
Don't want to be told. In 2013, I watched my sister die of cancer. So she was given a 1.5 year lifespan, and we watched her deteriorate from a normal human being to skeletal.
Wow.
And then she passed away, and she didn't want to know about it, so it was kind of like hiding that from her. She didn't want to know the bad news. And the day before she died, we set up a situation where we said she was going home. She's better and going home, but she died the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And from that day on, before that, I was into bodybuilding anyway, and I was doing my thing, hardcore, achieving my goals and things like that. But after watching my sister pass away, I was like, I will never stop.
Yeah.
I'll never ever stop.
Wow.
And people don't understand that. People think that death is on the news. People think that and we're so benign here in Tasmania.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we don't have anything going on.
True.
We had something go on in 1996, but that's been forgotten about.
Yeah.
That's been forgotten about. But we watch everything from inside out. We're looking out at everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad happening here. This is the land of opportunity, for real.
Yes. So true, brother.
Just Tasmania, just the island.
Yep.
And then if you go to Australia, you think about, and I don't want to get into this at all, but you think about 1,000 COVID cases. So what? Like, how many millions are in Australia? What's the population of the country?
Oh, it's a good question. Yeah, 20 odd. Yeah.
24 what?
24 mil.
Is that all?
As far as I know.
Right.
Oh, no, actually, who knows? Don't ask me this question, mate.
We won't.
I know the books. I don't
After
know
Derek Hickman's just laying down some facts. We'll fact check him later on.
Yeah.
1,000 people?
Yeah.
It's just fear-mongering.
Yeah.
But we're benign to all that because we don't have any problems down here. So and with that, I'll just create
1,000%, and that's within that also is just how scared people are of death. And again, it's not about being stupid. It's not about running down a highway the wrong way or anything like that. But people are so afraid of, like they're trying to play it so safe. People are trying to tiptoe to their grave, not living outside the box, not flexing outside anything that's been done before. But if you look at anyone who's achieved anything great, yourself included, like you've gone against the grain completely. Like, and I'm curious, how many people have tried to stop you, or how many people have tried to talk you out of doing what you've done?
Do you want a number, or do you want a conversation?
Both.
I can't even fathom the number.
Yeah, okay.
So many people have told me, don't bother.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Really early on when I was bodybuilding, and I had contact with my real father, I don't anymore, but when I did, I was bodybuilding, and I'd say, what do you think? What do you think? He'd see me once a year, and he'd say, nah, it's stupid. It's gay, it's dumb. Go and get a job in hospitality because everyone needs to eat.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a position where I create my own industries. I create my own income. Doing what I want to do rather than listening to the status quo of going to get a job at in a restaurant. My father was into all that.
Yeah.
That's where it started. And I was like, nope, watch me.
Yeah.
And so much. But that's what happens when you surround yourself with people that aren't like-minded.
For sure.
My dad and I, my real dad and I, aren't like-minded.
Yeah.
So guess what? Gone.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, that's what happened. We just don't associate with each other.
And do you find that's the best strategy? Like if someone's they're just going against what you believe in and what you know to be true, do you feel like that's the best thing? Just distance yourself from them?
Well, you've heard the phrase two to tango.
Yeah.
It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
If you and I are going to fight right now, it requires both of us to create that action.
True.
So if someone's pushing against you, you're pushing against them.
Yes.
So if someone's pushing against you to stop what you're doing or change your course, just move.
Yeah, I love that.
Just remove yourself from the situation. Yep. If a fight breaks out in this room, and I'm only saying that because of martial arts stuff, but if the fight breaks out in this room, leave the room.
Yeah, true. And okay, this is a really good conversation, especially coming from someone as strong as yourself and who's as masterful in martial arts as yourself. If a fight breaks out, leave. Some people would class that as weak. If you're stepping away, like should you not go after that person and say, you owe me an apology? Should you how do you balance that? Because I hear that thing where people are like, they go back to the person, they're like, you hurt me, you should apologise. Like, how do you justify that in your mind? I'm curious.
Doesn't matter. Like, we're all human beings.
Yeah.
And we're associated with each other through family.
Yeah.
Inverted commas, if you can't see that or hear it, just hear it. But family, you're born into this family circle.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you need to stay in it.
True.
And so many people get stuck in that systemic, generational, towing the line and in that lane of where that family has been and is going.
Yes.
You know, but get the hell out of there.
Yep.
Leave. Make a life for yourself. Make a life for your own self.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple in my mind because I've done it.
Yep. Yeah.
But it hurts. It's sad. It's depressing. You know, it's lonely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know what happened to the world, but my kind of lifestyle became sort of sought after.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind because back in the day when I was going through all those years of loneliness, I thought that was me destined to be that. But it's not. My lifestyle now, with the coming of the New World Order in the sense of robots going to take over every job, and I read an article the other day, the jobs that won't be around in 5 years are checkout people.
Yeah.
And there's a list of jobs that won't be even around. The creative person is going to be ahead of anyone that's been involved in these industries.
Yes.
You know, and
yeah.
I think what's coming in the world is one world government, one world currency, and we're all going to be paid a certain... And Derek and I were talking about this as some of Derek's knowledge. Because I learn a lot from Derek because he's very in tune with what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's there's going to be a one world currency, and that everyone's going to be paid sort of the same amount of wage and all that sort of thing, and all the work's going to be done for us, which allows us to be creative. Now that's kind of, that can be deemed as out there, and it is, and it's futuristic. You can't predict anything. I haven't got a crystal ball, but if I was giving advice to anyone right now, to start putting your creativeness into action.
Cool.
Because I don't even know, man. But then you have this other thing of like there needs to be a person for every job.
Yeah.
Someone needs to take the rubbish out.
True.
Someone needs to pass you the products at the store.
Yes.
There needs to be someone in every single job. But don't make that your life. Make that transitional. My first job was fruit and veg, you know. When I was 13, I got put in there as someone to help move all the stock around and things, and that was just transition for me. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, so having these stepping stone jobs is important for sure. Like
Absolutely.
to get you established, get
you Before I became what I am, I was a child carer, I was a disability support worker, I was a personal trainer, and then I phased all those things out.
Yeah.
When I'm sitting here and saying go and follow your dreams and go and do what you need to do in order to get out of the spaces that you're in, there's got to be that transitional period.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And it hurts.
Yeah.
It really hurts.
Yeah.
Just getting rid of your family, literally, just removing them from your life, that doesn't happen overnight.
No.
That's a process.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And be ready for it.
Yeah.
Or your friends as well. Oh man, I've walked away from so many friends. So many friends have walked away from me.
Yeah.
And that's a mutual thing. You know, and at the time, with breakups even, with relationships, they hurt. It doesn't matter who you are, what you say, a breakup hurts. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't take long, and you've forgotten about it. Not the person, but the pain. Everything fixes itself in the end. And whether you've got to figure out whether you're in control of these situations or it's in control of you. I've cried over girls before. Yeah. And I've walked away from relationships before. But each and every time, it's been tough. Mm-hmm. And you've just got to find things in your life. You've got to follow what you... But bringing back what you said before about purpose. I don't even know what my purpose is. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't have a clue. Yeah. I just think and do. But you've got to follow your feelings. You know? That's what I think.
I love that.
You got to follow the feeling that you can't explain. Because there's a lot of books with... headings. You know, like looking at the bookshelf behind you. Yeah. You know, unshakable, be obsessed or be average, get noticed in a noisy world, all these things. They're very specific. And we read these books to build knowledge in ourselves, but in reality, none of us really have a clue what's going on. True. Especially the people that read the books. Yeah. Write the books. Yeah. You know, they're just putting thoughts to paper.
1,000%.
But none of them are right, none of them are wrong. Mm-hmm. They're all just a collection. Yeah. You got to follow your own feeling. And if you wake up in the morning and want to kill people, then you need to channel that.
Yeah.
That needs to be put into us. You need to find ways in which to, fix your anger or put your physicality into martial arts or whatever.
Yeah.
We all have bad thoughts, but you've
Yeah.
got to find a way to curb them.
Yes.
And nurture them. With yoga, people say you got to block out. With meditation, you got to block out, not yoga, but meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Block out your thoughts. You can't.
1,000%.
No one can.
Yeah.
And, that's what I believe. Like, just follow your feelings.
I love that. Man, such a powerful conversation. So, what I've experienced to be true and seems to work well is you can borrow people's experience. Like, don't be afraid to learn from someone else's experience, but don't use that as an excuse to follow your own heart and listen to what you know to be true.
Right.
So that's what I'd add. And would you agree with that?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be who I am or where I am without the knowledge of all these books that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I've read probably 50% of those books on your shelf.
Yeah, awesome.
And if you think you know it all, you will go nowhere.
1,000%. Yeah.
Just, Anthony Robbins was someone that I listened to and watched when I was 20.
Yep.
I went through his tapes of his cassette tape series. Escapes my mind at the moment, but went through that.
Yep.
And I thought to myself, there are people out there trying to make their lives better, and he was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when he was in his 30s,
Yep.
And I thought, I'm going to follow his way, not
Yep.
necessarily his advice. Like, he tells people in his tapes to pull over and write things down, and I never did that.
Yeah.
I consider myself sort of a speed learner.
Mm-hmm.
Like even today, the past 20 years of my life, I wake up and there's audio. It's going.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to audio before I go to bed. People that say they can't read a book, ridiculous.
Yeah.
I read 6 or 7 in a week.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that I have this knowledge going into my earbuds while I'm driving at the gym. I spend 7 hours a week. No, I spend 5 hours a week at a gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on treadmills and things. So 7 hours of dead time.
Yeah.
Right? People say, I can't do that because I go to the gym, go to work, then I've got to go watch a soccer game, da-da-da-da-da-da. But everything I do, there's knowledge coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of it, certainly if I'm interacting with a human being.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Yeah.
But we're learning.
Yeah.
But that's what I think. Like,
so good.
Just be always learning.
Yes.
And if you read a book and you learn nothing, it's good. It means you already knew that.
Yeah.
Go to seminars and go to things. I don't particularly go to seminars to learn something. I go there to network and things like that. But if I'm at a seminar and I find that I've spent hundreds or thousands of dollars to go to these particular seminars and learn nothing, it's great. Yeah. It's reaffirming as to what you already know.
Yeah, I love that. Good mentality.
If you read a book and I know all that, I knew all that, you're on the right path.
Yeah, 1,000%.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
But if you're reading a book and learning, awesome.
That's a win as well. Yeah, I love that. And just to add what you're saying again, like what I've noticed works really well for me is I'll because I've done so many different courses and books, much like yourself, you get to a point where you just listen to it. You can listen to it even on double speed. But then occasionally for me, there'll be things that just stand out. I'm like, ooh, that's gold. I need to go back and just let that sink in.
Yeah.
And so I'll just take note of that and go into that.
Sure.
And extract that part. But I love what you said about maximising your time for learning as well. Because I really believe that the two fundamental things we can always come back to is just like anything in nature. You said organism before. We're here to grow. We're here to grow and we're here to contribute something beyond ourselves. Again, that's Tony Robbins' work. But I believe you can always come back to that because if you're just growing for the sake of growing, that's one thing. But if you're growing for the sake of having an impact...
Well, we're not trees.
Yeah, we're not trees. Yeah.
We don't just be stationary and do nothing, even though trees give us life.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I'm not dumb to that.
Yeah.
But we're not trees in the sense that we keep growing up and up and up and up and up and up and then die.
Yeah.
We are living organisms now and that move around the world and interact.
Yeah.
So my belief on learning is that if you're learning and just purely for yourself, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Knowledge should be shared.
Yes.
But I also wanted to just touch on this real quick, off topic, but in topic, is that for you personally, and I'll give you some more advice and give you a challenge.
Yeah, go for it.
I want you to do a challenge.
Let's do it.
I want you not to read a book until 2022. Don't read another book.
Okay.
And then I want, in that, between now and 2022, I want you to get on mic and camera and talk about everything that you know in segments.
Yeah.
Don't read another book.
Yeah.
Because what I find some people that do is get stuck in the knowledge acquirement.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And trying to get themselves so much knowledge to then and not spending the time on setting up a space for them to pass that knowledge on. You see?
I love that. Well, it's funny, like I maximize, like most people don't know this about me, but behind the scenes, like I'm coaching people all around the world pretty much all day.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And so I love what you're saying, and I've probably read less books this year than ever before. I've done more courses this year.
Less reading, more doing.
Absolutely, and I've actually embodied that, and I like your challenge because I've got a couple of books I'm reading right now, but I go to them to just like remind myself, but I don't actually read them.
But you are the book now.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying
You're a
that.
30-year-old man that's got 15 years of knowledge in his mind,
Yeah.
and you're drip feeding that out
Yeah.
to your client. I want you to start to yell it.
Yeah.
I want you to make 2 or 3 one-hour podcasts a week on your knowledge that you know, and just put it out there.
I love that. Yeah.
You know,
like challenge accepted.
The amount of, like, I'm a photographer, but only, like, I became a photographer overnight.
Yeah.
Because I had all that knowledge of a camera, and I never took photographs. And then I went, righto, I'm going to learn the bare basics of a manual feature of a camera, and then I went out there and took photos. And I fumbled through that process. And of the 10,000 photos I took, there's 24 of them on my wall.
Yeah.
And they're for sale. But, you know, it's that putting your knowledge to the road.
Yes.
Putting your feet on the ground and going. And it's about having all those bags on your back full of books, dropping them and going. And being confident in your knowledge.
So good.
You know, I don't know what you do in your life.
Yeah.
And you're saying that you have these coaching calls with people, but you're only helping how many coaching clients?
So I train other coaches.
Yep.
I've got currently about 10 clients I'm supporting.
Yep. So there's about 20 people in that room.
Yeah, and we educate. So I actually certify other coaches as well. We run. So
your knowledge goes to them, then your knowledge goes out to all their people.
Yeah. It goes.
You need to do seminars.
Yeah.
You should be doing seminars.
Yeah,
you should be filling rooms.
Yeah.
You should be filling rooms with people.
Yeah.
To then throw one person's knowledge into 100 people, then 100 people will throw their knowledge out to their 100 people.
Yeah, I love that.
Might have to get on our phones and do some maths.
Yeah.
But you see how that works, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. I love
when you look at the analytics of our podcasts, they're getting out to very limited people.
Yeah.
And they're opted in by people that are looking for that. But our knowledge needs to go out to people that are fleeting.
Yes.
You know, and you know, I want to start to put I'm gonna start to put out quotes and things on my social media, but my end game is to get out to as many people as possible about my story.
Yes.
Because it saves lives. But my story is not for 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. It's for 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
But how do you permeate a 15-year-old's mind these days? Easily. Go to TikTok. So I'm on TikTok.
So good.
And I'm not doing stupid, idiotic stuff on TikTok. I'm putting
You're educating.
putting my life out there.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you now that you've got so much knowledge, stop acquiring it. Because you're putting extra stories onto a skyscraper.
Appreciate that, yeah.
And I find that a lot of people do that. So if you everyone here probably knows someone that has been, and this is my worst nightmare, primary school, high school, college, uni, graduate, honours, PhD, PhDD, PhDD, and it's like, okay, like, now put the rubber to the road, let's go. Get out there and use that. Help people. You know, people get stuck in study, people get stuck in mundane jobs.
Yes.
Every one of us in this room knows someone who's worked in a job for 20, 30 years, 40, 50 years in that one job. And that's, back in the day, used to be seen as like, that's a good thing. Wow, you know, that's been working as a bricklayer for 35, 40 years, and now they're stuffed at 55, But I think all that needs to be transitional. And look, that's generational too. That was before the days of strength conditioning and awareness of nutrition and things like that.
Yes.
And these days, tradies are much better, educated on health and all that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
But I just find that people gather so much momentum, but don't pull the rubber band.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I pull the rubber band and I learn on the way down. So I'll jump off a cliff. So photography, for example, I've got a camera in my hand, and on the ground there is me having an exhibition. So I'll have the camera, jump off the cliff, and learn how to use the camera on the way down.
Yeah, so good.
Where a lot of people sit on that cliff and then go to the next cliff, but never jump.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think people should jump.
I love that.
I think you're such an underused resource, bro.
I appreciate that, mate.
Really, I think you should be doing more.
Yeah.
You should triple what you're doing.
Yeah, mate, I'm all for that. I love the challenge. Thank you for raising the bar for me, brother. So one question I would love to ask you, because you mentioned that you listen to your pods, you listen to your audiobooks every day, which is awesome. I was doing that when I was in construction, actually. Like that was my thing that got me off the ground. Guys would turn up to the job site, and you were a tiler for years as well, weren't you?
No, it's funny you say that.
I thought you were in some sort of trade for a while.
Never.
It wasn't yourself. Okay, interesting.
I've got a friend who's a tiler.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
I'm wondering if you know him. Brad Thompson.
Oh, that name is very familiar.
He used to live across the road from you.
Okay. Oh, that could be Tasmanian, mate. Like, it wouldn't surprise me.
Margot.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Look,
anyway.
No, never a tradie.
Okay, all right. But yeah, when I was, so the tradies, like, they would turn up, put the news on, like the radio on, just blare it all day. And so I swapped that out when I started getting this question. And I started listening to personal development.
Who, specifically?
Oh, everyone. Like, I pretty much went through every single one of Lewis Howe's podcasts.
See, that's where you need to be.
1,000%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate that. And just different trainings. Like, I was just doing my trainings, like trainings with just different coaching trainings I've done, like certification trainings. Like, I just infused my brain with it for 8-9 hours a day, like just tiling walls. That's like, that was just boom, boom in my brain. But
that's what it's all about.
1,000%. You're doing the same thing. And in the car, like, and with the kids now, like, we just have audios playing all day, every day, like, just infusing their brains, because we don't know it all as parents. Like, would be arrogant to think we do.
Our kids are going to get subliminally controlled by subliminal messages. We might as well put some sort of subliminal.
Exactly. Yeah. But I love what you said, and that's where people can start. If they're going to a job right now, they can't stand. They call it the net time, don't they? Like, no extra time. Like, if you're driving a car, if you're brushing your teeth, like, put an audio book in. Like,
if I worked in a toll booth, mate, I'd learn everything. If I worked 8 or 10 hours in a what do you call those things that those big cranes that.
Oh, yeah.
If I was locked in something like that, I don't know. If I was locked in anything, if I was locked in a booth somewhere doing a job, mundane job, I'd learn everything.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. How important has learning been to you? Like, just educating your mind. When did that change for you?
That was Anthony Robbins when I was 20 years old.
20 years
I went across some sort of television screen and I was just like, get it. Yep. Had no money, had nothing, but I went and spent every cent I got, had on that and did that. But, you know, there is literally no excuse. This is one of my Gary V sayings, because Gary V says stop watching Lost, right? Yeah. My thing is this, and I love music. I'm all music. Yeah. Most of my tattoos are musical. Okay. Some of them.
Oh, all the posters in your studio now.
It's all music.
Yeah, of course.
I love music.
Yeah.
But here's my advice: stop listening to music. Stop it. It's ridiculous.
That's a big one for people.
It's ridiculous. Sitting in your car listening to HO or whatever or I don't even know anymore what they are. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Sitting in your car listening to Johnny Farnham. I love John Farnham. But you know, come on. There's so much knowledge out there. Yeah. You can listen to people's lives these days. In my day, we had to get a tape from Anthony Robbins. We can actually watch or listen to Anthony Robbins' real life.
Yes.
You can watch what all these people you look up to. You can actually watch them live their life through social media. Oh, just get into it. Go for it. Gary V, Duddy V. Yeah. You can watch him go through his day-to-day work. Yeah. His day-to-day thing. And a lot of people say to me, I'm busy. I'm not busy. Nowhere near busy. When you look at people like Gary V or any leader of any country, imagine how busy they are.
Yeah, so true.
I don't know how they go to sleep at night. Yeah. Especially in the current environment. Yeah. And I feel for, whether I agree with their policies or not, but I feel for these people that are really busy about running states or countries, you know. I'm just doing what I love. Yeah. I don't feel like I'm out of work. Like I make enough money to be able to sit around my life and play video games all day, every day. Yep. I don't have to really do much, but I do everything.
So
That's what people should be doing. And fill your mind with things that promote growth.
Yep.
However, I do believe in, and this is a really big however, I do believe in mind downtime.
Okay, mind downtime.
Mind downtime. And so I believe in, 20 hours a day filling your mind with everything that you need to be learning and moving on to the next thing and listening to these people talk, and then when they say, go and listen to so-and-so, go and listen to so-and-so, and follow that path, follow the rabbit hole down the paths, and you'll start to, if you start listening to Gary Vee, you'll end up listening to Lewis Howes, you'll end up listening to yada yada.
Yep.
But mind downtime, and the mind downtime that I'm talking about, and something that I think is a misunderstood thing in this world, is video games.
Mm.
I think video games save lives because video games require attention, presence, and so if you have someone who's experiencing some sort of withdrawal, like a alcohol or drug withdrawal, you need to be present in that video game. You can't take illicit drugs or drink a lot of alcohol and play a video game.
True.
So something that I've then started to put back into my life, when I was depressed about my sister passing away, for hours and hours a day, I would sit and just play these video games and get embedded into and some of these video games are full on.
Oh yeah. Yep.
With big worlds and storylines.
Mm.
And for a moment in time, I had to escape.
Mm.
Escapism is good, but video games is not detrimental.
Yep.
You're not hurting anyone. And the best thing about video games, you can go into a video game and you can kill so many people.
Yeah. You
can control worlds. You can concoct different things that, alchemy and construction and all these different things.
Yep.
And I think that mind downtime needs to be, mind downtime for some people is learning, reading a book. Mm-hmm. But I like the notion of a video game, and then moving sideways of that is like fantasy books, like Lord of the Rings style.
Yeah, I love it.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Mind downtime.
Why do you think that's important for those? Because you kind of alluded to the fantasy and the other, like, bigger worlds and other worlds sort of thing. Like, why is that important for you?
For me, it's important because if I don't take a break, I'll never take a break.
Okay.
I'll never stop. My mind becomes like a washing machine.
Which is what you didn't used to do, I'm assuming, from what you said about being a bodybuilder, like people just get out of your way. Like, you didn't do it back then, is that right?
Didn't do what?
You didn't take this mind downtime?
Look,
Or you did?
no, I didn't. It was 24 hours bodybuilding.
Yeah. And how did that work out for you?
Burnout.
Just burnout. Okay.
It was burnout.
Yep.
So I retired from bodybuilding in 2007 after winning the Mr. Tasmanian, Mr. Australia, and flying to Germany for the Mr. Universe and placing 5th. On the way back, I was at the top of my game.
Yep.
I was the best bodybuilder of Tasmanian history with those achievements at that time.
Yeah, amazing.
And I'm not sure where I stand now, but I'll be up there. And then I burnt out and I retired. Mm-hmm. Thank God I did, because it was a mindless pursuit in the end.
Yes.
Of steroids and all that type of thing.
Uh-huh.
And then I moved on to jiu-jitsu, but I'd always have to have that constant physical and mental stimulation to keep me away from drugs and alcohol.
Right.
Which never really has.
Uh-huh.
I still contain my drinking into a normal human being's intake of alcohol and things like that.
Yeah, awesome.
But I'm not a cold turkey kind of person. I can live my life and dabble in these different things now that I'm 40. Mm-hmm. But I'm a huge believer of that mind downtime.
Yep, I love that. So
movies, TV series, but I think that it has to be monitored.
Yes.
You have to monitor yourself.
Yeah.
And that's just something that I've developed recently as a thought process to pass on to youth.
Yeah, I love that.
It's okay to be into video games, but even if you play video games professionally, it's you need mind downtime from that too.
True.
You need to go and walk on the beach. You need to go and interact with your family, yada yada. So I'm a huge believer of that, and there's so much access to all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever you do, you need time off it. So if you're 80% into video games or 80% into pursuing a goal or pursuit of podcasting or the things we're talking about, like martial arts or whatever, you need something to just take that take you out of that.
1,000%. Man, such a good conversation. And I know Tony Robbins, one of his 6 human needs, he talks about variety. Like, you must have, and even your emotions, you can't be in one emotional state for a prolonged period of time. You must have a dip in that, or change your gears occasionally. And people who just try and stay in one gear, caffeinate themselves, pump themselves up all the time. Even these people who do this NLP stuff and they get into peak states, like I know people who've completely destroyed their adrenal glands from knowing how to get in peak states.
But what people don't understand about peak state, and I can talk on that, is that a peak looks like that. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right.
So to be in peak state, it's a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it alludes to a down.
So you come up to this peak state, you sit there for a moment, and then you close back down.
Yeah.
So if I train jiu-jitsu as hard as I can all day, every day, I'd die.
Yep.
So I go to that peak state, I stay there for a couple of hours, and I jump out of it.
Yeah, so good.
I decompress.
Absolutely.
I think decompression is a big thing. I lived first, man, I was shocking. Like, people would say, the more people would say to me, you got to decompress, the less I would.
Okay.
I'm like, watch me.
Why would you?
I just think people, back in the day, I used to just think people were sooks.
Okay.
Well, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's work. The human body is, and on the flip side of that, the human body is way tougher than what we use it for.
Absolutely.
Not give it credit, but use it for. You know, I mean, there's people in Afghanistan right now with limited, like, even the resources like water and things, and the extreme heat, and they're running from danger.
Yeah.
They're still going, and we complain about, like, oh, it's cold today.
Yeah.
You know, the human body itself is so much tougher than what we give it credit for, and that's the reason why I get up in the morning and have cold showers.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, come on, is that it?
Yeah.
Like, people think that's brave, and if someone says to me, and I'm being really honest, if someone says to me, "Wow, that's crazy, cold shower," I'm just like, "Oh man, you mustn't have much going on."
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
That's nothing.
It's so true.
It's nothing to be compared. Like, you think about someone who's, I haven't read the book or seen the movie, but the fellow that got stuck in the cliff up in the Alps or something, and all he had was a Mars bar. He had to cut his own leg off, and it was 72 hours, I think the book's called.
Yeah.
Right.
James Franco did the movie of it.
I think, yeah. I don't need to read it or see it to understand actually what's going on there. Yeah. And I think I will. But I mean, come on, man. Get up and have a cold shower. How about be stuck on the side of a cliff for 3 days with nothing, surrounded by snow and limited food, and he still lived. Yeah. People underestimate. Yeah. But I don't even think people underestimate. I think people know, and then they don't pursue that. Yeah. You know, the testing of the human body. And I don't even.
Yeah. Well, you do a lot more than a lot of people. So let me say that. But people miss out, and they think that it's okay not to go and test your limits and do things that are really challenging. Yeah. They think it's okay, but the reality is you miss out. You miss out on getting to know who you really are. And, you know, I've done a few things like running the Point to Pinnacle 3 times. Like when I wasn't a good runner, like I learned to, I started skipping, like train myself, and I did it. It was brutal, it was horrible, it was disgusting. I was literally like walking backwards up parts of it because my legs were just on fire.
It's epic.
And I was just like jelly. But I did it. Like, and I've done multiple other things, including doing the military very young, just to challenge myself. And I was, I love what you're saying. I actually did a challenge on the weekend. Speaking of running groups, it was called Freedom Through Discipline Challenge. Because I was like, you will get freedom through becoming more disciplined. Yeah. And don't think you're just going to, like, people just pursue ease, which I think is terrible. Like, they go after ease. They're like, what's the easiest way now? And I think as humans, we want to do that because we want the comfort and the certainty. But you've got to pursue the growth. Like, you have not gotten to where you are, Darran, because you pursued ease. Am I right in saying that?
100%.
Yeah.
I am a product of living outside a comfort zone. Yeah, without any kind of doubt. And look, from 20 to 30, it was the pursuit of physical. From 30 to 40, it was similar. Yeah. But now it's turned into seeing what I'm capable of. Yeah. You know, I became a filmmaker. I just became one. Yeah. I became a photographer. Just became it. I became a podcaster. I just jumped off and learned on the way down. Yeah, I love that. You know, and I'm now I'm becoming a business entrepreneur, and I just surround myself with people that know about business, literally. Yes. And they tell me what to do. Yes, so good. And I just do it. Yep. You know, but I've learnt that. I've gathered all my own knowledge up to this point. But there's another thing. Like, just touch on this quickly. and I believe this from Gary Vee, don't focus on your weaknesses, focus on your strengths.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with people that can help you with your weaknesses. You know, I'm a huge believer in that.
Yeah.
Like, all I do is focus on what I'm good at. And then find out ways in which people can help me with my weaknesses.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I'm successful. You know, so it's a huge thing. I mean, I'd never read a book about. I'd never ever read a book about accounting. No way.
No.
Won't even touch it.
Yeah.
Won't even have it in my house. I should know about it, but I don't.
Yeah.
That's what calculators and accountants are for.
1,000%. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm a huge believer in that. People just underestimate themselves.
Yeah.
But they know they do.
Yeah.
People aren't. I don't think people need saving.
No.
I think people need a boot.
Yeah, I
the
agree
butt.
with that. Yeah.
But if I kicked everyone at the butt that I saw that wasn't living to their full potential, I'd have a sore foot. You know? So
True.
I used to go through life and give my outwardly opinion on people's lives in my 20s and just go, what are you doing? Like in a lunchroom or a corridor or whatever. And you get to know people and go, what are you doing? Like, what are you smoking for? What are you doing this for? What are you doing that for? What are you eating that for? What are you doing this for? And people just gravitate away from me. Now I just let people do what they do.
Yeah.
But if someone comes to me, I'll give them advice.
Yeah, good.
You know? And that's why I have the podcast.
Yeah.
So I can hit as many people as I can.
Yeah. Mate, I'm so glad you're doing the work you're doing. Bloody hell. The world needs it. You are someone who's gone after, like, within everything you've done, like, you've gone after what you believe in. Like, you've gone after your values. Like, that's what I sense, because I really support people move and I get clear on there are certain things you're good at, exactly that. Like, you've got values and expecting yourself not to live inside your values, you're really being delusional. You know, you're kidding yourself if you're expecting yourself to be someone you're not. But many people have not actually connected with who they really are. And they're like, they're just trying to live life based on what mum and dad want them to be, what their older siblings have said or what some teacher said. But you are someone who is well and truly, like with your photography, with everything you've done, your martial arts, like you've gone after what you believe in 1,000%.
I'm the book.
Yeah.
I'm that book.
Yeah.
Point to a book. I'm that book.
Yeah.
Because I did it. Because I lived that.
Yeah.
Because I read the literature once. Yeah. Not for years and years and years and years and years. I just read it and got it. I got the picture from Anthony Robbins back in 2000.
Yeah, good.
Then don't do that. And I lived it. He said, go and do this and this and this and this. And I did that and that. And then along the way, when Gary Vee came along, I was like, oh, cool. I'm not weird. I'm not stupid. I'm on the right path.
Yep.
You know, I was Gary Vee in my mind before Gary Vee was Gary Vee. I was already doing it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't have the $60 million of his thing, and no matter what he says, that you don't create a $600 million business and don't have the benefits of that.
True.
That he created with his father. But, you know, I've lived this life.
Yep.
It's simple. It's pretty, I mean, yeah. And that's what I alluded to before. Stop reading, start doing.
Yeah, I love that. Man, it's such good advice. Like, we're gonna wind this conversation up. I could jam with you for hours, brother, but
we'll do it again.
Yeah, we've got to do it again. I ask all of my guests this question,
Sure.
Darren. If you were to get access to the back end of the biggest social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and you had access to everyone's attention for 1 minute, what would you say to everyone? Like, and this was going to be the last message before these platforms got deleted. What would be your message to everyone?
It's simple, man. Like, you know, do it or quit. It's your choice. Only you can do it. So either do it or don't do it. No one cares. It's up to you. This, who I am, is up to me. I created this. No one else did.
Yeah.
It's up to the individual. So you either tune in or don't tune in to what you could be or should be. I often say to people, just quit. Oh, I don't like that. Quit. Just quit. Just wait for the excuses. I need money, I need... I say, just quit. The fastest way to move forward in life is to quit. It's the best. I've had jobs where I've walked out on, literally.
Yep.
Not said, hey, meeting, da-da-da, write this. No. Walked away from.
Mm-hmm.
You have to create. You have to make yourself uncomfortable. You have to strip bare your life. Literally. I think that.
Yeah.
And I've done it.
Yeah.
I've had the choice of going and getting a job and living in a unit with a nice TV and a couch and this and that, and I don't. I sleep on the floor.
Yeah.
In a business.
Mm-hmm.
And create it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you. You either choose to do it or choose not to.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, it's a choice.
Yeah.
So make it.
Yeah. Bro.
Quick, now.
Solid advice. I love that, mate. There's again, wisdom. There's wisdom in that, brother. And I really just admire everything you've created, mate. And I know you're only just beginning. That's what I sense about you, Darran. Like, there's so much more you're going to do, brother.
Oh, yeah.
I know that to be
No one
true.
takes you serious. I'll give you some more advice.
Yeah.
Because you're a baby.
Yeah.
No one takes you seriously till you're 40.
Yeah.
You've got 10 years.
Yeah.
And by the time you're 40, bro, whew, this will be bigger than this.
Yeah. Oh,
Way
I
bigger.
believe it, brother.
Way
I
bigger.
believe it. Yeah, yeah.
So spend this time right now, continuing what you're doing, triple it, quadruple it. By the time you get to 40, then people will start to listen to you.
Yeah, that's good.
No one listened to a word I said.
Yeah.
I turned 40 and all of a sudden I'm surrounded by all these people.
Yes. Yeah.
Mentors and you know, well-to-do people, whatever. Not well-to-do in financial, but in their individual fields. People are coming to me now, sitting in front of me and offering me and wanting to set up and wanting to do this and that.
I love it. It was like anything you got to, like, especially the military, like a reference off that, you've got to earn your stripes, as they say. You've got to put the work in, you've got to show up. And it is the people who show up consistently for the longest period of time who eventually, they're like, they're still here?
Yeah.
Cool. Like, they must be serious.
Stop treating this like a hobby.
Yeah.
You're
I love
way bigger than that.
Yeah, I love that.
Not better, bigger.
Yeah, I'm going to take that on.
Go hard, go massive.
Yeah.
Make this an institution, make this something special.
Yeah.
Go hard.
Brother. How can people find you, Darran, and get around everything you're doing?
Just Google it.
Yep. Google Darran Petty.
Yeah, don't Google my court transcript like Anna Derek Hickman does.
Okay.
You know, I'm everywhere. I'm
Yeah.
Facebook, I'm Instagram, I'm
Yep.
YouTube, I'm LinkedIn, I'm TikTok, I'm everything.
Amazing. And we were talking about the Trojan Academy before we began. You said you start with kids from the age of 4.
Kids from the age of 4, we got a kids program that leads up to 12, 13 and on. They go to teens and adults train together inclusively. And we've got huge female team. We've got everything, man.
Man. Darran, I'm so grateful to chat to you today, mate.
No worries, man.
Bloody gold.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate.
Done.
Legend.